Welcome back to In the Cards and Stars. I'm your host, Britt Madrid Mogensen, and we've got a very interesting episode because we are talking about the astrology of this week, and we're also looking at the birth chart of a champion, Simone Biles. This is going to be so much fun, you guys. The astrology of this week is a little bit intense. Of course, every astrologer has their own way of looking at things. In my opinion, it is not this super scary, something horrible is going to happen type of situation. And if you guys follow a lot of astrologers on YouTube, or if you subscribe to any, different podcasts, you may have been hearing some of the stuff that I've been hearing as well. We were talking about it on my YouTube channel in last night's live stream. We were kind of all getting a little bit nervous because a lot of astrologers are saying that this week is the most intense week of the year. It is, there's all this stuff happening. We're going to get into it. And we're going to actually talk about how we can think about it a different way. I don't want us to ever approach the astrology, even if it's intense. I don't want us to approach it with fear because then I just think you disempower yourself. At the end of the day, we are the most powerful beings in our lives. The stars can push us different ways, but we are going to be the masters of our own destiny, right? So we're going to look at that and we're going to get inspired by Simone Biles, her grit, her birth chart, her ability to overcome any obstacle and push through by looking at her birth chart. So we're going to check that out and we're just going to be feeling amazing. All right, let's manifest that on this Monday. Okay, so let's get into it. First, let's talk about the astrology of this week and a little bit about what everyone, and by everyone, I mean a lot of prominent astrologers, what they have been saying. I'm not going to name any names. I love a lot of the astrologers online. I consume the content as well as create the content. I just think that sometimes it can get a little bit out of hand. And I don't know if it's to get clicks or if it's really some people are interpreting this week as negatively, like in a genuine way. They really do feel it's going to be negative. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on. Okay. So things really get exciting. Things get juicy when we get to really like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All right. And well, actually, hold on. I think it starts on Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's a little bit not challenging. I'm going to say this is the energy that's going to bring out the champion within us. Okay. We're going to channel our inner Simone Biles and we're going to use this to become whatever it is that we want to become. We're going to use this to achieve our goals because here's what we have going on. It's some powerful placements. I will say that. So on Wednesday, the 14th, we have Mars conjunct Jupiter. Mars is the warrior planet. It is about intensity, drive, passion, getting things done. It's your get up and go. I'm ready to take charge, warrior type of energy. And we all have Mars somewhere in our charts. I'm sure you've taken a look at yours and you probably already, can identify with your Mars energy. So we have Mars conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter is the great expander. It is the giver of gifts and luck. This is sounding pretty good, right? We have our passion, our will, our drive conjunct a planet that is all about expansion and prosperity and positivity and gifts. Like, okay, great. So I like this. This sounds amazing. So it's like we are going to be able to expand our efforts, feel motivated, and the outcome is going to be gifts, luck, positive things, good things coming our way, more inspiration. So Wednesday starts off pretty great. Okay. Here is what people are a little bit worried about. The alignment is square Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of that's kind of the opposite of Jupiter. It is the planet of restriction. It is the taskmaster, the coach. And if we're thinking about this in terms of like, Olympian Simone Biles, this would be like her gymnastics coach that makes her do more reps. That is like, okay, that was almost perfect, but you would have this many points deducted. So it's not time to celebrate yet. We need to keep going. That's Saturn. Okay. So when there's a square in astrology, that is a point of tension. Now, tension can be good, like if you're holding a rope and you need to walk across a tightrope. Yes, we're going to keep going with these gymnast analogies. If you need to walk across a tightrope, you need that tension. Tension creates this ability to get things done, to move forward. Tension can motivate us. When something is tense, there is this desire to relieve the tension, usually by taking action. And with Mars conjunct Jupiter, we will have the motivation and the ability to take action in a way that relieves that tension. So, the way that I'm interpreting Wednesday's sky is that there may be something that comes up wherever Saturn is in your chart, I would just check your natal Saturn, okay? So I'll use myself as an example here. I have Saturn in my second house of finances. Well, maybe on Wednesday, I will feel like I'm motivated, I'm driven, Mars, Jupiter, things are expanding. I'm getting some sort of opportunity or something that really excites me that I want to keep moving forward towards. And maybe I check my bank balance and I'm like, oh, wait, I actually don't have that in the budget. So, this is why I think a lot of the astrologers are saying, like, oh no, this is going to be a horrible day. Because if you stop there, if you don't have that mindset of the champion, if you stop there, you'll be like, oh wow, that's really upsetting. Like, yes, I feel very tense. This is sad, blah, blah, blah. Right? Well, if you are someone who is going to use the astrology, you're going to say, okay, cool. There's tension here. How do I relieve this tension? Well, I can do that by channeling the energy of Saturn, which is listening to my coach. If Saturn's my coach, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to keep repeating the floor exercise or whatever. And by doing that in my own life, I would maybe find a side hustle or find some solution through hard work, through dedication, through a belief in self, because Saturn requires a belief in self, through structure, through discipline, in order to actually overcome this issue, making a big change. So, this week is actually the turning point. This is the breakthrough. I believe personally, by looking at this astrology, I'm interpreting this as the tail end of the breakdown. Like we've been very aware of whatever it is in our lives that has been stressing us out, whatever's been a point of tension. And I see this week as more of the release of that tension through deciding to make a change. And that's actually amazing. And we have more planetary aspects that are actually supporting this. So let's keep it moving. Okay, ooh, another good sign, by the way, before we talk about Uranus and the innovation part. Another good sign is that also on this Wednesday, when all that stuff's happening, Mars and Jupiter are also aligning with fixed star Rigel. And this is all about benevolence, high honors, wealth, splendor, happiness, glory, inventiveness, great ambitions, having a really broad outlook. It's beautiful. So there's that as well. So, like, this is really good. Rigel aligned with Mars and Jupiter. I'm telling you guys, our ability to overcome whatever tension or whatever situation is brought to a head far surpasses whatever the situation is. And this is why I'm going to be on my tiny little soapbox for 1 second. This is why I get a little bit annoyed because I'm like, and I love astrologers and I get that this is also for entertainment purposes only. Note that, please. But at the same time, like, a lot of us do use this in our daily lives. We use it for motivation, we use it for mindset, for focus, for setting goals, for the timing of our lives. I've seen so many weird things happen. I actually should put together a video of the times that I've experienced astrology in the wild because it's really, if you subscribe to this stuff, I mean, it's amazing. And what I don't like is that astrologers will, maybe this is my one of my points of tension that I'm overcoming this week and pushing through. Maybe it's creating different types of content because, like, it's really important to make sure people know that they are always more important and there's always so much going on in the sky that you can find your point of breakthrough. You can find your ability to push through. Oh my God. This is so reminding me of Simone Biles' birth chart. I can't wait to talk about it. Okay. So that's going on. So we have that happening. So we are empowered, we are strengthened. If something comes up that is a challenge that has been probably going on in your life for a while, if it's something that surprises you, don't worry, treat it the same way. Move slow, steady, channel your Saturn energy, look to your Saturn sign in your birth chart and embody that, embody the disciplined aspect of that zodiac sign and overcome it because you can and you will. And the point of this week is not to break you, to beat you down, to scare you, to stop you in your tracks. It's actually to show you just how powerful you are by showing you that when you show up, you will be successful. Okay. And that is I fully feel that, you guys. Okay. So we were all talking about it last night in the live stream. Do not worry. I did a deep dive this morning and I feel very confident in telling you guys this. We have got this and I know it. Okay. Let's keep it moving. So then we get to Thursday, August 15th, and this is the one that a lot of astrologers were saying, "Oh my gosh, this day is the worst day." Like, okay. I was like, "What the heck?" Um, I'm telling you, some of these headlines are just like, "Holy smokes." So here's what we have going on. We have Mercury retrograde, quincunx. Yeah, say that 5 times fast. Neptune. And this can begin to distort people's like rational thought process in ways that can cause like confusion, escapism, things like that. And this is just kind of like the pot is continuing to stir. So while we do still have that aspect alive and well with Mars conjunct Jupiter and aligned with Rigel, which is all very positive, but square Saturn, the coach. So while we are working on our reps, having Mercury retrograde, quincunx Neptune, this does create a little bit of either confusion or we can say, okay, we're really rethinking because Mercury is here to help us rethink. The Mercury retrograde has gone now from Virgo into Leo by Thursday, August 15th. Okay, so that's actually happening like in the evening of Wednesday, the 14th. So by this time, Mercury is backed up into Leo. So look at that part of your chart. Which house in your birth chart is ruled by Leo? That might be where you're getting an added layer of rethinking. For me, Leo is my seventh house. I'm going to ask my husband for his input. I'm going to use my seventh house as a resource and as another outside perspective. So think about how you can make this house that's ruled by Leo work for you. How can you use that house to help you find a breakthrough? Because Mercury retrograde, quincunx, Neptune and retrograde, a lot of astrologers are saying like this is going to be so confusing, like we're just lost. I'm going to say this actually can get us completely out of our usual routine, which would keep us stuck in the same cycle that we've been stuck in, which is what this week is pushing us to break through. So I'm going to say, actually, this is great because it forces us to think even more creatively. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. It's creative as well. So as long as we don't do any escapist tendencies like, don't go have a drink or like, I'm just going to say, honestly, my advice for this week, if I'm like, we're friends here, what I'm going to be doing and I hope that you guys do is just be very regimented with your time. Have a wake up schedule, a certain time that you're going to go to sleep, get a little cardio in every day, even if it's just walking in nature, like whatever it is, get your body moving, get your endorphins pumping, get a lot of sleep, a lot of rest, because we are going to be using this. All of us here on this podcast, all of our friends in the Tea Time group over on YouTube as well, we're going to be using this week to overcome something that's been burdening us, to push through a block, to finally say, hey, we're bigger than this. We're the champions. We're winning the gold medal. Okay. So you need some sleep. You need some good nutrition. So get yourself ready. Okay. Now the plot thickens, so that's going on, blah, blah, blah. Then we get to Friday, August 15th, Mars square Saturn. And this is highlighting, a lot of people are saying, okay, this Mars square Saturn on Friday, this is an even bigger combination of the energies, our desires are growing stronger. We really want to achieve whatever this is that has been on our minds and that we've been already feeling this building tension since Wednesday. By Friday, a lot of astrologers are saying this is going to become a breaking point. Well, I'm going to say this could be the breakthrough point. I wouldn't do anything new. I wouldn't do anything rash. I would just act like Saturn, keep acting like Saturn. Use the added Mars pressure to make you that much more motivated. And I know, again, this is sounding crazy. Like, this might be something as little as I don't know, it could be anything. Like if it's your fourth house, maybe it's something as little as you've been really wanting to redecorate. The item you wanted to buy is a little too expensive, but you keep pushing through, you keep researching, you finally find something on, Amazon or like Wayfair. And by Friday, you have checked your finances, you've double checked, and you are finally ready to actually make the purchase. But this isn't something random and new. This is something you've been thinking about for a while. So it's fine. You've persevered. Do you know what I mean? So again, I'm not trying to freak you out. This could be something very minor, but for you, it's a big deal because you're like, I've been wanting this for so long, and I know it's going to help transform my house. Okay. Then we have Saturday, August 17th. The moon's going to enter Aquarius. Little side note. And this is starting to gear us up for the Aquarius full moon. We're going to talk about that on next week's podcast. But, it's just, there's a lot of energy in the sky. There's a lot of energy. So here is where there's another thing that, that astrologers were having a heyday with. And they're saying, okay, on this day, Mercury retrograde is going to square Uranus, which is the planet of surprise and shock. So whatever it is that the tension has been building and you've been just racking your brain and feeling so defeated and so depressed and sad and confused, now by Sunday, something even more shocking is going to happen. You're going to be completely surprised by something out of left field. Okay, I'm going to say no, absolutely not. This is where originality, innovation really come in to play. Yes, there is a square, but again, the tension point, we're going to look at this as more motivation. Okay. We're going to look at this as something that continues to motivate us. And the Uranus square is going to show us the direction to go. And it's going to be something innovative, something new, something probably very exciting. Uranus energy is very exciting. Uranus is also associated with Aquarius, and the moon's going to be in Aquarius. So I feel like this is going to be really positive. So think outside the box. Don't do anything rash, but go with it. Like if you have an innovative solution, if something surprises you, if something comes up that you didn't expect, just keep thinking of everything that happens this week as an opportunity for your breakthrough, for leaving behind what no longer serves you, and just keep going. Be that disciplined Saturn energy. That's my advice. That's my 2 cents. We will check back in next week and we'll see what happened for everybody. And I think it's going to be really not that big of a deal. This may just be us problem solving and coming up with really great new solutions that are going to help us to never have to deal with this BS again, whatever that BS is for you. Okay. So now let's look at Simone Biles' birth chart. I'm excited. This is good. All right. And she won what? 3 gold medals, 1 silver medal. She won the gold medals in women's artistic individual all around, women's artistic team all around, women's vault artistic gymnastics, and her silver in women's floor artistic gymnastics. Amazing. Let's get a birth chart and see what the chart of a champion looks like. Let's see what inspiration we can also take from her birth chart as we continue to be the champions in our own lives and really take it to the next level and maybe win the gold this week. Is that what we're doing? We're overcoming our biggest obstacles and winning the gold this week. That's what I think we're doing. So here we go. She has the sun in Pisces, moon in Gemini, Mercury in Pisces, and Venus in Pisces. She has her Mars in Virgo, Jupiter in Aquarius, Saturn in Aries. Her north node is in Virgo. Her midheaven is in Sagittarius. So this is a lot of info. Let's get down to the houses. Let's start with the first house. This is her physical self, but this is also her mindset, the way that she presents herself to the world, the way that you may see her if you know her, if you're a friend of hers, if you're a teammate of hers, perfect example. This is the way that you will see her. So her first house contains her sun, Mercury, and Venus. This much focus, the 3 planets in her first house, this is about that focus on self. So she is here to be an individual. She's also someone that probably spends a lot of time alone, which makes sense because as a gymnast, even though it's a team sport, you do have to be in your own head a lot, coaching yourself, thinking, working up your nerve. Pisces energy is also very malleable. So you can create whatever you want to create. With Pisces there in that first house, she can transform her body. She can physically adapt. I just got goosebumps. So like confirmation. And with her sun there, and Mercury and Venus, she is focused on that. She's focused on transcending, doing whatever it is that she needs to do. Pisces is traditionally associated with the 12th house in astrology. And the 12th house is about our subconscious, but it's also about like what's between this world and the next, almost supernatural. And I will say, I think her abilities are supernatural. I mean, she's amazing at what she does. And we see this. We see that her sun, her ego, the way that she thinks and what she loves. And also, Venus, little known fact, Venus is also about what types of things we attract into our lives. And Pisces energy is that transcendent experience. So she does attract experiences that allow her to kind of be this larger than life, beyond the veil type of person. She thinks about being a champion with Mercury there. She is probably someone that does a lot of visualization. Maybe she dreams a lot about what she's going to accomplish, but her focus on her goals, her focus on getting her constitution, her body where it needs to be. And this is also a very spiritual placement. So, truly, having this commitment to higher ideals, it's essential for her, and we can see that she does that and it pays off. Okay. Again, Pisces is dreamy. I wanna say I think she's probably just a big time manifester, and I have not looked that up or anything, but I'd be interested to know, like, if she's ever spoken about manifestation or writing down her goals or visualizing, the end while she is like maybe like before she goes on. Maybe she thinks about the whole routine. Like, I don't know, but there's something about this spiritual power, this almost supernatural, otherworldly ability to get her mind, her heart, and the sun and and her ascendant, like her body onto this different wavelength that allows her to really amaze us and do things that we haven't seen other people do, or very few other people do. Okay, so that's her first house. And having a packed first house, like I said, this lifetime is a lot about her focusing on herself. It's like, this is about you and you. You know what I mean? Like, she has to be very strong also with Mercury there in the first house. Okay, second house, Aries. This is how we earn our money. This is also about our self worth. And she has Saturn here. This is intense, you guys. Wow. I can't even say it. It's like, this is so intense. And if we remember when she had that situation where she just decided not to participate in the Olympics because of her mental health, that was huge. And I would venture to say that it may have had to do with her self worth and pushing herself too hard. Aries, wherever Aries is, this is a fire sign. So there's already a lot of energy there for her, a lot of pressure, I would say. And again, this is all for entertainment purposes only, but I would say she has a lot of pressure that she puts on herself. And for her, I don't know that it's necessarily about making money. I think that she does enjoy making money, but it's more about winning. Aries is the warrior. So they want to win. And this is associated with money and worth. So for her, it's like she has to win. She has to go and do things that no one else has done. Aries is the trailblazer. She has to win the gold medal. And if she pushes herself too hard, if she forgets to balance out that second house in Aries with Saturn there, that is really putting a lot of pressure on her. This can also be other people that have put pressure on her in the past and throughout her life. Um, it's not an easy placement. I will say this is not an easy placement. Again, Aries is independent, Aries is solo. So I think at the end of the day, she can sometimes get to the point where she feels overwhelmed, like there's so much pressure just on her. And she may not be great about sharing this with other people along the way, like needing support, because a second house ruled by Aries makes you feel like you can only accomplish and achieve things alone. And like you can't really share that with other people. Like you have to do it yourself. And I think a lot of that is what contributes to her being a champion. And like I said, guys, with Saturn this week, everything that the astrologers have been saying and like what's kind of going on in the skies, this is an example of how you can turn a placement that may be traditionally difficult with Saturn in the second house of money and worth in Aries, like feeling like you're just like it's just you and you, and sometimes feeling unsupported and all of that. It's like, look what she's done with it though. Look what she's done with it. She has, I'm sure, come up with solutions to balance that out. And she took time away when she needed to. But ultimately, she was back at the Olympics in 2024 and she won 3 gold medals and a silver. Like, wow. Saturn will give you a realization. Saturn will help you find the solution. And at the end of the day, like life is going to be a journey full of ups and downs. Oh, that's another thing about Pisces rising I forgot to say. One thing about Pisces rising is that they do experience ups and downs, like all of the water signs. All of the water signs, think about water. It's flowing, it's ever changing. It's, you can pour it into a different container. Water signs are all about the emotions, the feelings, the ebb and flow of the ocean. So sometimes people with Pisces rising can have high highs and low lows. And part of what they're here to learn how to do, and with Mercury there, the way that she thinks and communicates, and Venus, her heart energy, love, romance, but also abundance and money and what she attracts into her life, there is this need and this challenge in her life to learn how to be someone that can ride those waves, to learn how when the tide gets a little too turbulent, you can just kind of float on your back. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to try to swim as hard as you can against a current and then exhaust yourself. And I think that's why she originally, when was this? Was this 2020? I believe it was 2020. Oh my God. I hope I'm not getting this wrong. But the 2020 Olympics, I think, where she stepped back and she said that it was about her mental health. And that's her communication, the way that she thinks. That was probably a huge step in her learning to balance and to not feel like Aries, second house containing Saturn, she has to work so hard and feel alone to the point where she can't step back when she needs to or ask for help. Saturn in the second house is about discipline. It is about, you know, working hard so that you can achieve all of that stuff. But I think that she learned to balance that. She learned that, not at the expense of burning yourself out. But Pisces rising people will experience high highs, low lows. If you have this, just know that the more you can learn to ride those waves, don't blow it up in your head, find that balance, find that positive thinking, learn to rest if you need to. Give yourself permission to flow a little bit through life, and you will find that it's not quite as difficult as it may seem at first. Okay. So, okay, all right. This is so wild. Her chart is so dead on. Okay, so that's the second house, Aries. Now, if we look at her ninth house in Scorpio and her 10th house in Sagittarius, this is very interesting because when she was talking about the high highs, the low lows, came out and said, I need to step back. I am not going to perform in, these competitions, this Olympics back in 2020, I believe. It was a huge deal and people were shocked because we're used to seeing her as that second house Aries containing Saturn, like someone who just works, 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 works because she drives a lot of her self-worth from her ability to achieve things and to keep pushing herself. But she finally realized Mercury and Pisces conjunct Venus, I also have to take care of me. And if I don't take care of me, I'm not going to be able to ride these high highs, these low lows. I'm not going to be able to keep doing that second house Aries containing Saturn work that I need to do in my life. Sometimes I need to make it okay to just sit back and float. And that whole philosophy was something that really did enter into the collective consciousness in a bigger way through the media that was covering her story. And I remember even hearing about it because, that was such a tough time in life during COVID and all of that. And I was feeling a little down. I think we all were. It was just kind of like a depressing, stressful time. And I remember thinking, wow, if even Simone Biles, someone who is so strong and someone who's so accomplished, is willing to step back and admit that they need a break and like that is so empowering. Like I was like, wow, I am so impressed. Like I remember that gave me an even deeper level of respect for her because I was like, wow, what must that take? When you know that you've been working for this so long, you have coaches, you have teammates, you have spent hours and money and all of this, there's all this pressure to perform. And if we look at her second house, we see why. But she said, "No, I'm actually going to be real, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna step back." And that to me is just such a pure example of her ninth house in Scorpio containing Chiron. All right. So with ninth house Scorpio, ninth house is your philosophy. It's also very much like the ninth, 10th house, 11th house, they kind of flow into one another. This is more about dealing with the world at large. Like these houses, they're about dealing with the world. And the ninth house is like your philosophy. When you travel, it's like foreign countries. It's also messages in the media, but like international media, which absolutely the international media covers her because she is, an Olympian. She's someone that performs on an international stage. And so the ninth house in Scorpio, Scorpio is more introverted. So I think that in the past, she didn't always share these types of things. She was more quiet about them. And with Chiron here, Chiron is the wounded healer. And it's like once we learn to push past whatever doubts or insecurities we have in the house that holds our Chiron, we then become an inspiration to others and we're able to really feel like the full force of our own power. And the things that used to hold us back don't hold us back anymore. Again, this is giving this week's astrology. But to have her ninth house in Scorpio containing Chiron, this is all about her transforming Scorpio, the sign of transformation, the Phoenix rising, transforming through difficulty. And with Chiron there, this is something that was probably really hard for her to admit this, to speak about it, to be open about it, because deep down, her philosophies had to change. The ninth house, your philosophies, the way that she looks at things had to change. She had to go from this second house, Saturn, Aries, no excuses. I have to keep pushing. It's just me against me. All of this stuff, right? All of these things that you do have to be a champion, but it has to be balanced because you're also a human being. You're not a robot, right? It's so great that she actually did embrace this. She shared a very powerful, positive message. Scorpio is also about mental health, the underworld, things that people don't talk about, things that traditionally people have hidden. And she brought that to light. And because she experienced it and she shared it, Chiron energy, she empowered other people like me who, I was watching it from Dallas and I was like, oh, wow, that affected me. Her Chiron energy, her being that wounded healer. I profoundly remember hearing about this when I was at my TV studio in Dallas and watching the coverage. And I remember it just today, even. I remember how I felt. And it was really inspiring during a dark time. Very Scorpio energy. Okay. So her philosophy, her ability to transform through her Chiron helped other people to transform as well, to change their mindset, to change their philosophy a little bit. Okay. 10th house. Her 10th house is in Sagittarius and contains Pluto. I mean, this story really unfolds for her in the public eye. She obviously, by looking at her chart, she's meant to be a public figure. I mean, we do see this really flowing through the ninth, 10th, 11th houses. So Pluto is traditionally associated with Scorpio. It is a generational planet, so it moves a lot slower. So there are a lot of people of her generation that have Pluto and Sagittarius. But what's interesting to me is that her ninth house in Scorpio, the way that it flows from Chiron, which is also about transformation, also about the Phoenix rising, to have Pluto in the 10th house, this is about taking that, because Pluto is also transformation associated with Scorpio. It's taking the messages of the ninth house, the life lessons, the Chiron energy, and putting it on the 10th house stage in Sagittarius. The 10th house is about how others see you. This is your media presence. This is your public image. Like, this is how the world, people that don't know you well, this is how they see you. And to have Sagittarius here, this is such an upbeat, fiery energy. To have a fire sign on your, midheaven, your 10th house, this is really positive. It's like you just are seen as this fiery person, this ball of light, this powerful being. And for that to be combined with the message of, Pluto, the transformation energy in that 10th house, she really did take the healing and put it on a stage. And I think that's so important. And that is a part of her legacy. Also, on another note, 10,000 Sagittarius, like this is someone that others do see as energetic, fiery, passionate. I think she takes that second house Aries and she really does put that on display in the 10th house. I love it. I think that we see her hard work that she does alone in Aries. When we look at her 10,000 Sagittarius, like this is where she shows us everything she's been doing in secret on her own, her Saturn energy, what she's been hustling for. We finally see that. And it's really cool. I love that. So that's her 10,000 Sagittarius, changing the philosophy, changing the mindset of the people through this placement. And then the 11th house is groups, and this is like social media. The 11th house is like collective groups, it's friendships. It's also the way that we see her in the context of like a group as like the Olympians or whatever her, identifying group would be. And this is in Capricorn. So we see her among her peers as a very hard worker. You can never take that away from her. She is someone who has worked extremely hard to achieve everything that she has. And with this being in the 11th house, it is visible to all of us. And she also has Neptune there. Neptune breaks boundaries. So she will take things to a level that we have not seen before. Neptune really just, and is the higher octave of Venus, Neptune does not have any boundaries. There is no end to what she can accomplish when she gets into her Capricorn energy of hard work. Oh my God, I just remembered she has that goat necklace, which I think is so cool because she's like the goat, greatest of all time. Well, the goat is associated with her 11th house in Capricorn. Love it. So this is who she is. This is when she comes to the table. The 11th house, if you think about it like a big table, a group. This is groups and friendships. When she comes to the table, she comes to the table as the Capricorn, as the goat, as the hardest worker, the one that's going to show up first and stay the latest. And she's unstoppable. With Neptune here, she knows no boundaries. Nothing will ever stop her. Oh, I love it. I have chills. Okay, then the 12th house, this is her subconscious, what's going on beneath the surface, what we don't see about her. And this is in Aquarius, and this contains Jupiter and Uranus. So this is someone who is a deep thinker. This is what's cool too. With Jupiter in the 12th house, this is someone who is highly creative, highly intuitive, but also she's going to work really hard in secret. And then she's going to take whatever she's been learning, whatever she's been working on, whatever she's been crafting in her own mind, and it's going to shock and surprise all of us. Like we're not even going to have seen it coming. Kind of like, I think what a lot of people were thinking when she first, stepped back. People were wondering, is she ever going to come back to the Olympics? Like, is she ever going to, is she quitting gymnastics? I would say definitely not. That was never going to happen. She just needed time to herself to manifest, to work hard, to visualize, and to come back stronger and better than ever. So, hidden gifts, this very hidden side of her personality that we don't see with Jupiter there. Also, a generous spirit and Uranus surprise. And Aquarius is associated with Uranus. So it's like that's in its home sign. Like she's an innovator. She is an innovator and she is always going to do things that shock, surprise us. She's going to wear an outfit that we didn't expect. She's going to use a song for her floor routine that we didn't see coming. It's going to surprise us. It's going to delight us. It's going to be amazing because with Jupiter and Uranus, they're together in her 12th house. This is surprises that are delightful. Surprises that are exciting, surprises that are fun and joyful. So she may even be kind of a prankster or a trickster, but this is someone that has a lot beneath the surface. Once you get to know her better, you just find that there's just more to love. Very positive mindset with Jupiter there. She's someone who, even if she gets down with that first house in Pisces, with the ups and the downs of life, that she is here to ride that wave, she can always go back to an underlying positive mindset. She knows how to get herself back there. And with Uranus there, she surprises other people all the time with her ability to achieve whatever it is that she wants. Also, and the innovative part is interesting. I would be curious to see if she uses technology in an innovative way with what she does with her work or her preparation, because I think that it's probably very important to her in some way. There's some Aquarius element. Maybe it's a lot of charity work. I don't know, there's something that she does that's very humanitarian as well. And then if we want to talk about how she prepares, because some people were DMing me like, oh my God, how does she have the motivation to do this? What's her birth chart look like? Well, if we look at her sixth house in Leo, the sixth house is your day to day. So, and that's what you have to do, right? To become an Olympian, to become really good at anything. And by the way, guys, we're also going to be using this week for the astrology to combat the astrology because Mercury will be retrograde in Leo come Wednesday when things start to heat up a little bit. And the sixth house in Leo, Leo is a fire sign. So this is taking all the things that you want, all of your motivation, all the things that we've been manifesting, and we started to see signs of them coming to fruition on that Lionsgate Day, August 8th. By the way, I saw the first proofs of the new merch for the podcast and the channel. I'm so excited. And that happened on the 8th. So I was like, oh, good sign. So that was the beginning. We got a little taste. This week, we are here to take those visions, those dreams, the little seeds that we've planted and we've started to see sprout up, and we are going to kick it into high gear. And we're going to use the energy of Leo to make that happen. For her, Leo in the sixth house, this is about health. Leos are very hardy, very robust. Leo is associated with strength. So this is physically a strong constitution, but also the strength to push through things. The strength tarot card, I always pull that when I'm doing readings. And it's like, just stick with it is always the message. It's like, keep going, stick with it. Remember your strength, pull from your inner strength. So for her having this Leo energy in the sixth house, this is her every day pulling from her strength, acting like the Leo, acting like the lion, holding yourself to the highest standard. It's associated with royalty and, a benevolence as well, very generous of spirit and living from your true heart center. Leo's associated with the heart chakra, also with the will. So a strong will, the ability to keep showing up, and with fire, that fire energy. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because you would have to have such a strong physical constitution, health and wellness. All of that is sixth house, daily routines, sixth house. So she really puts everything into it. There's a strength, and there is also this probably this need for like a little bit of like glamour and beauty. Like maybe she wears a certain outfit to, go to practice, or there are like little rituals, probably little things that she does to also make her experience of her day-to-day routine a little bit more enjoyable. But at the end of the day, it's all about strength. It's all about being the lion and going and getting what it is that you want. So, and in her case, it was the gold medals and the silver, and she did it. Okay. So that is my quick overview of the birth chart of a champion. And hopefully, you guys can see just how much you can use anything in astrology, anything in your birth chart, any sort of transit that comes your way this week or in the future to your benefit. If it's Saturn, use that as your cheat code to work harder. Wherever Saturn is, channel that energy, channel the positive qualities of that sign. It will help you. Wherever Mars is, get motivated. If Mars is involved, get your motivation going. If Leo is involved, tap into the heart center. So just, little things to keep in mind. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you thought of this. If you guys are not subscribed, please subscribe. I would like to get to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube by my birthday, September 9th. That would be the most amazing birthday gift. So please subscribe, share this with your friends if they're into astrology, pop culture, and let's grow the tea time group a little bit. And I'll see you guys in another video very soon. I love you so much. Have an amazing time this week. I'll be here for you on the channel, and I'll be checking in again. I'm going to do another live stream this week so that if anything's going on, we will stay unified. But love you guys, and I will talk to you very soon.